Assassin's Creed is one of the most iconic franchises in gaming history, but everyone knows how hard the series has fallen off over the last decade. Now, Assassin's Creed Shadows seems to be having a pretty strong start, reaching over 2 million players at this point and receiving very solid critical reception, but will that be enough? Ubisoft is in a very tough financial position right now, and the only way out is a string of bangers, so what better way to win people back than a remake of one of the most beloved games in the series? Now, leaks and rumors regarding a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag from insiders have been floating around for a couple of years at this point, so today we're going to go over all of the latest news and leaks for Assassin's Creed Black Flag's remake. We're going to talk about the release date, how they plan on tying it into the AC canon, and so much more. Guys, we have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing. Also, don't forget to enter the PS5 giveaway. Those details are in the pinned comment, and let's get started. So just in case you're completely out of the loop, reports of an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake first started circulating in early 2024, but there were a few rumors being passed around before that. But in January 2024, Insider Gaming published a report that seemed to confirm that the game existed, at least to some degree. We didn't know just how much of a budget Ubisoft was giving the project or if it would ever get released, because, you know, this was during the time that Ubisoft was canceling things left and right to slash their yearly budget. But as of 2024, the game was at least in development. Insider Gaming reported that the game was probably a few years away, but in October of 2024, they then published a follow-up report that not only confirmed the game was still in the works, but it was actually much further along than we initially thought. Now, Ubisoft still hasn't confirmed the game's existence, but since they've been focusing on Assassin's Creed Shadows and its numerous delays, that's not really surprising. Now, the next mainline Assassin's Creed game is supposed to be Assassin's Creed Hex, which is the Witch Trials Assassin's Creed game, but we have no idea when that game is actually coming out, so Ubisoft is going to have some empty space in their release schedule, making it the perfect time to release an easy layup and start getting their financial situation back on track. Like, already Assassin's Creed Shadows has had a really solid launch, and they likely will have a success with that game, so immediately following up with another remake like Assassin's Creed Black Flag would be a very smart move. Like, AC Black Flag is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games, and just the overall prospect of it getting a remake that's polished, that improves upon the core features of the base game, but bringing it up to, you know, today's standards would be really exciting. Now, if AC4 or Black Flag's remake is truly in development, which again, I do think it is, I think it's obvious that it is, but it's been in development for quite a while, it seems likely that Ubisoft is going to announce it very soon, especially considering Assassin's Creed Shadows should no longer be eating up their development and marketing budgets. Like, that should be ending pretty soon, even though I think they'll keep marketing Assassin's Creed Shadows for quite a bit, probably longer than most other Assassin's Creed games, mainly because they want that game to be a full success. Like, they made a pretty solid game, now they just need it to sell like a solid game. But where does that bring us for the reveal of Assassin's Creed Black Flag's remake? Like, we know that it's imminent, but when is that going to be? Well, Ubisoft typically holds a big showcase over the summer called the Ubisoft Forward, where they announce new projects and give us updates on ongoing things. Now, with the number of reports coming out about Black Flag, and with some very trusted insider sources now claiming it's coming out in the very near future, I think the 2025 Ubisoft Forward is going to be a perfect time to reveal it, along with a release date. Now, personally, I think Ubisoft would get a ton of goodwill from the gaming community if they announce AC4 during a summer event and then release it the following fall, perhaps anywhere between the months of September and October 2025, before the rest of the industry starts dropping their big holiday games. Now, granted, that's assuming Ubisoft isn't scared away from the fall 2025 release by the monster that is Grand Theft Auto 6, so they might decide to wait until Rockstar updates their release window for that game, at which point AC Black Flag would likely fall to early 2026. But regardless of when Ubisoft decides to place the release window for this remake, I am absolutely expecting it to be revealed at the next Ubisoft Forward event, which is just a few months away. Like, it's so wild. We are so close to all of these summer events happening with all of the gaming news we're about to get. It's about to be a wild time. So hopefully Ubisoft shows up and puts on a great show. Now, one thing is worth mentioning that Ubisoft put a lot of effort into their new Assassin's Creed hub called the Animus hub, and it seems that they're doing their best to use it as a tool to connect all of the upcoming Assassin's Creed games and cross-promote with every new entry with the existing ones. It's honestly not a bad idea, and it'll also give them some opportunity to do some interesting things with the story by essentially turning the interconnected game hub into a piece of the lore. Now, another interesting thing they plan on doing is incorporating older Assassin's Creed games into the current canon with remakes that will be released via the Animus hub. Now, as it stands right now, the only Assassin's Creed games in the Animus hub are AC Shadows, Origin, and Mirage, Mirage, Valhalla, and Odyssey right now, but you know, you'll have to have those games installed to be able to boot them. But it certainly seems like going forward, every new release is going to be a part of the Animus hub, and that will be a very interesting opportunity for Ubisoft to make the plot of AC4 more integral into the current state of affairs. It's also a great way for Ubisoft to test the waters with other Assassin's Creed remakes in the future, potentially with slight tweaks to the stories in order to make them tie in more closely with the current timeline. Now, as it stands right now, all of the AC games are canon to the story, but I think Ubisoft would really love to make the current overarching narrative more explicitly tied to the plot of the pre-Origins games, and this would be a really great way for them to do that while also making a ton of money off nostalgia bait. This brings us to our next topic, and that is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake's visuals. Now, I've seen some people argue that remaking AC4 is pointless because the game still looks great, and while I do agree that the original aged extremely well, like, let's be real, there's obviously a lot more that can be done, especially if it's being built on the new Anvil engine. Like, when you look at the graphics of Assassin's Creed 4 and Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's very obvious that Black Flag would look even more amazing with some updates to the engine that improve the overall texture quality and the lighting. Now, it's not that AC4 looks bad by modern standards, but rather if Ubisoft built it from the ground up like a full remake, they can make it look even better in ways that the console versions of the original can't do. Like, obviously the PC version of AC4 can be upscaled and modded. Like, I've done a lot of modding on AC4 already, but if you're primarily a console player and you want a beefed up version of AC4, the remake is really going to appeal to you. Like, seeing those epic pirate battles on the high seas in the modern Ubisoft Anvil engine at 4K resolution at a higher frame rate like 60 FPS plus is going to be absolutely insane. But it's apparently not just going to be an update to the visuals, because if the inside sources are to be believed, which these rumors are actually coming from actual employees who worked on the AC4 remake, Ubisoft is not just remaking the game one-to-one on a new engine with a few story tweaks to tie into the Animus hub. According to recent reports, they have claimed that there are going to be some gameplay tweaks in the remake as well, alongside some new gameplay mechanics that will differentiate it from the original. Multiple outlets have recently reported that the remake is being built on the latest version of the Anvil engine, like I mentioned, and will feature new wildlife and combat mechanics. Now, although it's unclear what that exactly will mean, but if we take what Assassin's Creed Shadows has done with the overall flora and fauna of that game, they've done an incredible job with that, so seeing it with AC4 could be really awesome. Now, the reports also claim that the developers of the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake are also doing their best to update the original and make it feel like a more modern AAA experience while maintaining what made it so good in the first place. So hopefully this doesn't mean just like straight up replacing chunks of the combat with QuickTime events like many AAA games do these days, but I personally wouldn't mind if AC4 had a more refined or deeper combat mechanic system. The original AC4 had some really fun combat, but since it was released back in, the early 2010s, there's obviously a lot of wiggle room for bigger and better melee combat. Like, as long as they don't change it too much, I think it could be really cool. And as for the wildlife system, I think this could be a great way to add to the immersion. Maybe you can go hunting or fishing to get food for your ship, or maybe you're just venturing around the map on foot and there's a chance you encounter a wild animal and have to fight it off, or maybe you can even catch and tame birds or monkeys to bring onto your ship as your companion. Updated combat mechanics might be tough for fans of the original to wrap their heads around, but I think we can all agree that a deeper wildlife system in a pirate game, along with new combat mechanics and ship combat, would be a great improvement on the original. As most of you know, Ubisoft really needs a W right now, and leading up to Shadows, it was widely reported that if that game didn't hit financial expectations, Ubisoft might be at risk at a complete buyout. It was even reported not too long ago that Ubisoft has been having secret meetings with various other publishers and discussing the possibility of selling off some of their IP, likely in a last-ditch effort to avoid a full takeover. There was a lot riding on the financial success of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and while it's still a little bit early to tell if they hit their financial expectations, it seems to at least have bought them a bit more time. They're probably going to be very eager to get another heavy hitter on the shelves, and if AC Shadows brought them a year or two, they're probably very interested in getting another AC game out as soon as possible, which is where the AC4 remake could come in handy. Like, right now, we're still about a year or two away from the next mainline Assassin's Creed game, that being AC Hex, And Ubisoft needs an easy win, so why not rush out a remake of one of the best games in the franchise? Plus, it would also go a long way in washing the bad taste of Skull and Bones out of our mouths. Even though Skull and Bones isn't dead, like they're continuing to develop on that, which is a topic for another video, but wow. Ubisoft definitely needs another win, and I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag's remake could be that win. That's gonna wrap it up with this video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe with your notifications turned on, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.